Hello, Grandview students. This is Mrs. Rashleger, and I will be talking to you today about what we're doing today in class on Thursday, September 10th. The first thing on our list, and of course, your Bitmoji classroom will look a little bit different depending on whose classroom you're in, but the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to read Investigation 1. It's called What's Your Story? And we find this in our Northern Lights online textbook. So on your digital classroom page, you're going to find the Northern Lights textbook on your teacher's shelf. So there's a direct link that will bring you right to your textbook. Once you're in Northern Lights, you may have to log in the first time, or if you have logged in before, it'll just save that. So then you're going to click on Chapter 1, Studying Minnesota. We've used this all week to read our chapter. So we're still going to click into the chapter in Chapter 1, and you're going to find the investigation. And there are two ways you can do this. And I did log in, but it's making me log in again. So that might happen to you too. Remember, all your login information is in your Helpful Resources folder in Schoology. So that was actually a good thing that it made me do that. All right, in Chapter 1. So like I said, there's two ways you can get there. I'm going to go over to this bar on the side, and I'm going to click on Investigation 1. It'll bring me right there. You can also use this tool at the top, which just allows you to go back and forth kind of on a slider bar. Doesn't matter. Either way, you're going to find Investigation 1. It's called What's Your Story? You're going to read the investigation. It's not that long. It's just a couple pages. And then the question down here, it says brainstorm a list of primary sources you might find in your home. This is actually what we're going to do on our digital study guide slides today. So once you get to this part, you're done. You can head back to your digital page, and I'll show you. Number 2 says complete digital study guide slides 8 through 11 in class. So you're going to head to your copy of your digital study guide. Again, if you don't remember where that's at, that's going to be in your Schoology course under Chapter 1. For example, in mine, right here, Chapter 1 Digital Study Guide, so you could find it that way. Okay, in my digital study guide, I'm going to head to slide number 8 because slides 8 through 11 are due today. And then it says primary source and secondary sources. And again, it gives you the definition of what those are right here. And then on the right-hand side, it wants you to list some examples of those. So an example of a primary source is a letter. Okay, an example of another primary source could be a photograph. You're just going to put your cursor right there and type it in. Try to think of as many different primary sources as you can. Fill up the box if you can. I would say let's try to at least have around 5 to 7. Okay, when you're done with that, then you're going to come down here and read about secondary sources again, and then list some examples of those. Again, it'd be great if you can fill up the whole box, but if you do about 5 to 7, that should be sufficient. Then on slide 9, there are a whole bunch of other primary sources and secondary sources. Now you might say, oh my gosh, Mrs. Rashleger or Mrs. Rutledge or Mr. Warming, there is no way I can read this. I'm going to introduce you to a really cool tool up in the upper left-hand corner of your toolbar. It's the zoom button. So you're going to click on the zoom button, and then you can see I have the little magnifying glass. And if I click right on the page, it gets bigger. Amazing, huh? So it says we can get information from many sources. Some are primary and some are secondary sources. Read each type of source and then decide whether it is a primary source or secondary source. If it's a primary source, you're going to type the letter P on the line. If it's a secondary source, you're going to write the letter S on the line. Now, in order to do that, I have to get rid of my little zoom icon here. So I'm going to go up to the arrow because this is going to let me type in the box again. So as you can see, if I do that, I get my cursor, and then I can type in whether a diary of a prisoner of war is a primary source or whether it's a secondary source. Okay, so you're going to go through and do that for all of those. All right, then to get it back to normal size too, you can go back to and then click on Fit or have it fit your screen. All right, then we're going to head to slide number 10. In slide number 10, this is all on primary sources. In the box, again, if you click in it, it says write an example or type an example of a primary source. So go ahead and do that in this box. And then in the second box, you're going to actually put a photo of this primary source. So you could take one with your Chromebook, you could upload one from your computer. That's totally up to you. Or you could also insert one from Google if you want to. Then down below, it says explain how you know this is a primary source. What makes it a primary source? So go ahead and answer that question. Then the last slide today on our digital study guides that we're going to do is slide 11. And it's just like what we did with the last slide with primary sources, except this time you are going to do that for secondary sources. So again, you're going to type an example of a secondary source, upload or insert a photo of that secondary source, and then explain how you know it's a secondary source. Okay, once you are done with that, you're going to go on to number 3. Number 3 today, HW stands for homework. So your homework is to do 3 pictures in your class introduction slides. That is due tomorrow. And I know, at least I'm assuming we've talked about this in class for the last couple of days, but I'm going to go through it again just to remind you. So if you click right here where it says class intro slides, that will be a direct link to your teacher's classroom slides. So if I open this up, you'll see my little intro there. And I'll take a second to load. Directions again, it says find the slide with your name on it. This is the only slide that you can edit. You're adding 3 pictures of artifacts that tell us all about you. For each picture, you're going to type a caption and then explain, and that explains what's in the picture. You would then present your slide to the class to introduce yourself, and we're going to actually do that tomorrow on Friday during our Zoom day at home. Then you're going to take time to go through everybody's slides and meet students who attend on days that you do not. So if you see in my class, I've got a slide for each one of my students, and you'll have one too. All you have to do is scroll down until you find your slide and add your 3 pictures. I'll just show you mine for an example. So here's me, Mrs. Rashleger. I put a picture of my family because that says a lot about who I am. This was on a trip to Ireland that we took a couple years ago. My family loves to travel, so that's important to us. I also put in a picture of a shoe because I love to run and I coach cross country. And then I put another picture of a lake, and because I sure love living here in Minnesota with all our lakes. That is my happy place. So those are 3 things that tell about me, and you are going to do the same thing on your slide. Okay, so then if we come back to our digital page here, you can see that that is all for today. So I hope you have a great Thursday, and we will see you later.